As Max continued to wander through the streets of hell, he was starting to get hungry. Hours had passed, and it was getting very late. Max's stomach growled and he grimaced, knowing that he wasn't anywhere near food. He was also aware of how much more dangerous hell could get during nighttime. Everything he had seen in broad daylight was absolutely nothing compared to the horror he would face at night once darkness fell. "I've really got to get home now," Max thought to himself urgently as the sun set lower and lower in the sky. But he couldn't stay here. He needed to find food and fast. More time passed as Max continued to search for fresh food, and he was getting desperate. At one point, he was able to find a food stand, only to realize that it was going to cost him money that he didn't have. And so, Max was forced to continue on his journey. The sun was getting lower and lower by the minute, and Max was filled with waves of anxiety as he watched it all happening before his eyes. Feeling extremely distressed by the situation, Max called out his mother's name. He was only a pup after all. He wasn't meant to be here all alone. Of course, there was no response to poor Max's disappointment. This caused his anxiety to spike, and he made his way to a dark alley where there were no people. He began to cry, knowing that no matter what he might try, he would never be able to get back home on his own. Eventually, night fell, and by some miracle, Max fell asleep. A few hours later, Max awoke to an unfriendly and rather menacing group of demons looming over him. Max was confused, as he had never seen these people before, and he didn't know who they were. He asked who they were and what they wanted. His voice trembled with fear. These people weren't like the other sinners of hell. They stood out because of their unique uniforms. Max guessed it was for some sort of club or organization, but he wasn't sure. Their outfits were golden, and they wore angel wings, which Max assumed to be fake. He knew that most of the time, you wouldn't find any angels in hell. Most of them were too afraid to visit. That, and they really weren't supposed to. Not unless they were given special permission to do so by the great Lord himself, by God. One of the demons laughed maniacally and promised Max that they weren't going to hurt him. "Don't worry, kid. We're not going to hurt you." "Yeah, not unless the boss says so." "Right. She's not here yet. But don't worry, little one. When she gets here, she'll take care of you." "Hey, get back here. You're not going anywhere. Not without the master's permission." Hey! Get back here, you little shits. Stop fighting me. Hold still, you little mangy brat. You two! Enough. Let him go, James. I can handle it from here. My sincerest apologies, master. As you wish, let it be so. Silence! How dare you utter a thanks in my presence? This was never a rescue. Stop asking senseless questions. Did I say you could speak? Exactly. You will speak only when and if I ask you to. As far as intentions go, I will not be stating my business here. This place is crawling with enemies. What makes you someone who is not my enemy? I said don't speak. What part of that don't you understand? But, to answer your question, you are what I call the missing piece. See, I need you, so I can get back what I once lost. You are pure evil, just like everyone else in hell. But you are of great use to me alive. Can you at least comprehend that at your small age? Max nodded in reply, so he wouldn't upset the master any further. He truly had no idea what was going on, or why any of this was happening. But he figured that playing along might get him in less trouble. Max had never seen these people in hell before. He was afraid of what they might do to him if he angered them. so he decided to just stay silent for the time being. He didn't like the way the leader was looking at him. Even behind her mask, he was sure her eyes bore into his with an intensity that made his skin crawl. He shivered when she spoke again. "Good dog. Now, you are going to come with me, and you are going to help me," the master ordered. Max knew just by the tone of her voice that this woman meant business, and he knew that there was no way out of this. Max noticed that the master wielded a sword. Suddenly he gasped, and his mind flashed back to an old memory of him when he was very young. It wasn't long after he was born. Max had no memory of his birth mother. In fact, he wasn't sure where he had come from or where his true parents were, if he had any. But there was one memory he could never forget. It was the same day that Luna found him, abandoned in the alley. But it wasn't just about how he was rescued that day. It was also about how he'd ended up that way in the first place. As it happened, after Max was born, he was sent to an orphanage specifically for Hell-Hounds. But there was no room for him there. Every room was taken. And, unfortunately for Max, nobody in Hell cared enough to make room for a poor, orphaned Hell-Hound like him. And so he was forced to live on his own. For 3 months, Max spent his life walking and living off whatever leftover food was thrown out. He had no parents and no money. And then there was that one memory of her. Max had met the master before. She was the one who cut his leg, debilitating him, and left him to die alone in the alley. Max gasped as he remembered again. "What are you gasping at? For fuck's sake, kid. I already said I won't hurt you. Now be a good dog and come." "Hey! Leave the kid alone." It seemed that luck was on Max's side that day, as the Queen of Gluttony, better known as Beelzebub, came to his aid. Max turned his head and got a good look at his newfound hero. He stared in awe at Beelzebub. She was brightly colored, and her voice was as sweet as honey. For a moment, their eyes met, and he sent her a pleading gaze. Max admired her bravery. However, the master was not fazed by her in the slightest. Instead, she laughed. Well, well, if it isn't the Queen of Gluttony herself. Here in the flesh. Somehow I pictured you more furry. What a disappointment. Sorry to disappoint, but I mean, if that's what you're into, I ain't judging. Would have never guessed you were a furry. I am not a... Just because I pictured you differently does not make me a furry. Hey, I'm just saying. No need to get so defensive about it. It's cool. Enough! Who do you think you are to tell me how to behave? Do you have any idea who I am? Well, no, not really. We just met like a minute ago, and I still don't know your name. My name is not what's important right now. Let me guess. You're a super evil freak who plans to use this poor little guy for your own selfish needs. Well, it sounds quite unholy when you put it that way. But yes, that's correct. And there is nothing you can do to stop... Oh, I stand corrected. I suppose you can do something about it by defending this kid. But still, you can't escape me. I will take this child, and I will have my revenge on you freaks. I will wipe you out once and for all. Yeah, good luck with that. We're out of here. No, you cannot take him. He belongs to me, and he wants to come with me. Right, darling. Yeah, okay. Do you want to go with that witch, or do you want to come with me where you'll actually be safe? She's bluffing. Nowhere in hell is safe for a child. But if you come with me, I can take you to a place where you'll be protected at all costs. As if you of all people would even know the definition of safety. Well then, We'll let the kid decide who he will go with. So sorry it isn't you. As if you know. Remember, it's your decision, honey. Max was frightened. He had never been under this kind of pressure before. He looked at the master. He looked at Beelzebub. And then he looked away. This was a difficult decision. Max didn't know who either of these people were. All he knew was that he was hungry and tired, and that he wanted to go home. While he was almost certain the master was a threat, he felt a bit curious. He wanted to know what had made her so angry and bitter, but he knew asking further questions could only lead to trouble. And given that the master wielded a sword and had others with her to protect her, Max knew he didn't stand a chance. As for Beelzebub, her exterior seemed sweet and caring, almost like a mother. But as the master had stated, she was a queen of sin, and it was more than likely that she wouldn't have the time to keep or raise a child. Still, she was obviously the better option here. Max took a deep breath to keep calm before making his final decision. He chose Beelzebub, much to the master's disappointment. What? Beelzebub? You can't be serious. Oh, I think he is. And you've just lost the battle. Deal with it. Oh, I will be dealing with it soon enough. Just you watch. I didn't want to have to do this in front of the little one, but you leave me no choice. Max, come. Stop treating him like a dog. You haven't stopped doing that since the minute you started talking to him. Address him the right way. Max is a person too. As if you royal demons would treat a hell-hound any better than I would. They are nothing but dogs, and they are filthy. Particularly this one. You don't even know him. How dare you speak about him like that? As anger rose within her, Beelzebub's form changed, and she grew tremendously in size, showcasing her power and great strength as a queen of sin. The master began to hesitate, knowing that her simple combat skills wouldn't be enough to overpower Beelzebub. She growled angrily in frustration, realizing she was going to lose. Fine. You want your worthless dog, then take him. But I will be back. May my fiery vengeance burn you all. Fall back and return to heaven at my command. I've had enough of this place for one day. The master ordered her other soldiers. Max watched in surprise as the others followed the master back to heaven and retreated for the time being. Max was shocked. He had thought that their wings were fake. He had been speaking with real angels, but what were they doing down here? Didn't they have better things to do in heaven? He felt so confused by it all. He was so lost in thought that he jumped when Beelzebub spoke again. Woo! I don't even remember the last time I had to use my full form like that. What a rush. I'm really sorry you had to see that, honey. Oh, you're hungry, aren't you? Here, what's your favorite food? Got it. Here you go, honey. Enjoy. Go on. Eat up. What? They don't call me the Queen of Gluttony for nothing. Listen, why don't you spend the night at my place? You'll be warm and dry and safe. And as for a bonus, you can have all the food and sweet treats you want. Does that sound okay to you? Okay. Let's go then. And don't worry, you'll be safe with me. I promise.